I wanted to go over specifically about trial of the Sekhemas. I've seen a lot of people kind of having trouble, saying it's horrible, that they cannot complete it, that people are failing. And so, with that in mind, I created a solo self-found character, and we are currently level 28 right now. I wanted to do these at 26 because I think at that level it's good enough that you can do your first trial without much problem. So, but anyway, this character is 28. I actually already completed my first one already with the quest. So what I'm gonna do to kind of try to make it a one-to-one of sorts, I'm gonna unspec these, destroy my gold here, so that I don't have any access to the bonuses. It's extra damage. It would help at this point since our damage is not in the great scope of things. It's not insane yet. So that way I don't have access to that. Before I get into the trial, though, I just wanted to go over one of the things that I think people are missing the most for their characters is that for PoE2, vendors are actually really, really good sources of damage or like gear for your character and thus damage or survivability. For example, these staff right here, I'm solo self-found and I purchased this from a vendor. It initially only had the flat damage, so I purchased it. Actually hit a AUG on it and it got the 80% increased physical damage. So that alone made this staff insane for what I had before this one. And with that, then I actually hit a Regal Orb on it to actually transform it into rare because I thought it was good enough. And it actually got the increased critical hit chance. So I was like, this is just insane. And from there, Path of Exile 1 and 2 are basically a game of exponentials, right? Like, so the more you have of something, even better it gets in that sense. Of course, exponentials are just like that. But what I mean is you want to go full in oftentimes to actually get the best bang for your buck. So I had a couple exiles that I actually dropped as well. So I hit it here and the socket things that I could have, I think at the time I had like two or three from destroying gear with sockets. If you don't know, any gear that you drop with sockets, you can go over here in your salvage bench and then destroy it to get these shards over here, the artificer's shard, and 10 of those actually make you a full socketing item. So then you can put sockets, and then I put these two runes here for extra physical damage. I dropped a couple, as you can see, and since most of monks' skills convert basically almost all the damage from physical to code. Increasing your physical damage actually will deal a considerable amount of damage for you as well from your skills. So that's why I made this weapon. Uh, Very quickly, nothing crazy here, just some resists. I got these chests which had 30 spirit on it. That way it allowed me to already run Green Fist and Ghost Dance. Green Fist definitely needs to be nerfed. I mean, I guess once they adjust the levels for Energy Shield, even like with 100 Energy Shield at this level, it's just insane to me. Like I'm oftentimes at 200 Energy Shield, it keeps replenishing my Energy Shield. That coupled with Ghost Dance, that also replenish my Energy Shield based on my evasion, gives me really nice sustain for this level. I tried this setup. I know people usually go with Wind Dance or other options, but for me, this has been going really good. This was also a vendor item. It was just like this from the vendor. I didn't hit any exalts or anything on it. So as I mentioned before, vendors are quite crazy for your upgrades. People, I think, are really sleeping on vendors. Like, you should check your vendor every new level because they reset every level, right? Like they replenish their inventory every new level that you get. So always check vendors. This belt, nothing special. I found it with, I think, fire resist, and then I hit a couple currents on it and just ended up like that. Nothing special. My charm and flasks. I always love to go with the gains X charge per second. This helps you, like if you're fighting a boss or like having to dodge stuff around or anything like that, to keep your charges incoming. Okay, so this is the gear and this is the character so far. Um, for trial of the Sekhemas. If you're playing trade, I would recommend you to go to the website, trade website, and search for any relic that you can buy for 1 exalt or less. Make sure to actually put search for exalts because the site is indexing incorrectly the price of exalts and divines. Um, that way, so my first relic, anytime you start the Sanctum or the trial, they will give you a single relic. This was the relic that I earned for free. This is the one that I used when I did the trial. But if you are on trade, you can go to the trade website and actually search for any relic with honor resistance. Just like your resists, honor resist caps at 75% initially. You do have relics that can increase that amount, but buying any relic with the most amount of honor that you can buy for up to 1x will give you a insane boost on your Sanctum run. Since you guys will be able to do that in trade, I'm gonna actually use these relics here these were the relics that I actually won after my first run. So as you can see, they are nothing special. Basically, I'm just adding a little bit more power to my run, since I would consider that if you're playing on trade, you probably will go to trade and be able to buy relics with 20, even 30% on the resistance, if that's the only thing you're searching on your relic. Buying two or even three relics that will cap your honor resistance from that, then you can actually get maximum honor, movement speed if you like, increased uh, quantity of keys. For now, since we're focusing on making you complete your trial, we're not really looking on getting more loot, right? Like the idea here is not to actually uh, earn more or like be more profitable. The idea here is to make sure that we can complete the sanctum. So anything that is bosses deal 5% reduced damage or like you deal extra damage to bosses is actually the one I prefer the most, because bosses usually are the ones that you might have trouble with. So dealing more damage with bosses will allow you to actually be a lot more successful in your run. I'm just gonna pop this in, and this basically has 10% honor resistance. So as you can see, my relics are kind of garbage, to be honest, but just to show you that even just small bonuses can help you a long way. Just to recap, if you're in trade, even on your first trial, you should have one or two axes lying around, exalted, so you can use that to actually purchase relics for you that actually can help you really, really, really on your first trial. Okay? All right. So this is Sand Hourglass. Basically, we're gonna have mobs that spawn here. These here are actually mobs that can spawn at some point in the trial. As you can see right now, they are not attackable, but you can already know that these actually might spawn during the run. So you are kind of aware that you're probably gonna have mobs spawning in these areas, so that you can ahead of time know where you should be moving or having your attention, right? Like in this specific room, these area over here and these area over here are traps, but they are just trying to show you what they do for the further rooms that you're gonna enter. These are basically, you can just ignore these areas, but the Sanctum is trying to show you and teach you how these traps work, so that on the next rooms that you actually will have to cover ground with them, you know the timing and how they work, right? Like they are here for knowledge. They are trying to give you the knowledge of these traps to you. We're gonna activate these. For these rooms, the more you kill, the faster the time goes down. So actually killing stuff is actually beneficial for you if you don't take a lot of damage while doing that, right? As you can see, I'm running to the spawns of the mobs. As I mentioned, this guy spawned here. He usually slams the ground here, so jumping on it as soon as you can is the best strategy to not let him damage you, and dodging from the volcanoes that they spawn. These spiders throw these webs. They actually can damage your owner, as you're seeing. Uh, as you could see during the run, the more I killed, the more the faster the timer was going down. In this room, I took 40 honor damage, which is not perfect, of course, but still, for this run, we probably gonna try to find a couple of runes that regenerate honor for us. So it wasn't as terrible as it could be. If I had relics that had honor resistance in them, this damage would have been 10, 25 honor, which is totally fine, right? Getting some water here, which is basically your currency. So for here, basically for your first trial, one of the things that people usually don't understand is that for every ascendance, if you have your first ascendance, you have to kill the first boss, and then you're gonna click on the shrine that allows you to ascend. Usually people do the second ascendance with ultimatum, but you could also do with relics that have two floors. It shows on the barrier one, two, three, or four floors. People sometimes think that that means how many times you can try this first floor, and that's incorrect. What that means is how many floors you have, and basically you can think like this. For each ascendance, you have to complete a full floor. So if you need your first ascendance, you have to complete the full first floor with the boss, and then you click in the shrine to get your first ascendance. For your second ascendance, your 4 points, you have to complete two full floors. And then after the second boss, you're going to click on the shrine and be able to get your second ascendance, third ascendance, and then for the fourth floor, you get your fourth ascendance. Just like that. For completion, so keys here are basically what you get to get loot at the end of the sanctum. We're not trying to go for keys here. We're not going to go for loot here. I see people having problems because they usually like, oh, key, I really want to get loot and whatnot. On your trial for your ascendance, you're trying to maximize your chance of completion, right? Like you're trying to be successful on your ascendance, to get your ascendance. So the strategy here is, what can I do and what can I avoid to have the greatest chance to actually succeed? So this one, for example, Fiendish Wings, is really bad for you, especially when you have low gear. Monsters will be faster, moving faster, so that means they will get to you faster and start attacking faster, and also will deal more damage. Not only that, you cannot slow them, so chill effects won't affect the mobs, so that means overall they will be doing more stuff and beating you down a lot more. So this one is terrible when you have lower gear. Cannot restore honor. For Lord Gear characters, this is also a problem because you usually want to replenish your honor during the run. If you're content on your skills, this usually for later runs that you do, this is just free, can be free with a good character and once you know what you're doing the sanctum, but this one usually is also not really good. can see one fewer room. Usually you don't want that because you want to be able to plan ahead your run here. But for these types, I actually might need to replenish my honor here. So I'm between these two. This is a big no-no for me. I'm not really looking to keys. So I probably will go, and also as you can see, I'm checking already the third row here. We are here right now. I need to see this one, which is my next move. And then these ones are the ones that you have to plan ahead of time to see where you're going from your first choice. So what I believe I'm gonna do is probably going this one, which kinda it's a bummer. I will see less of the sanctum, so we won't be able to plan as far ahead as we can. But I'm not really losing power per character or my ability to actually complete runes. And then I'm going to go with Sacred Water. If we find a merchant during our run, I certainly would like to have enough water to buy 2 or even 3 booms. As you can see, I didn't mention anything about the type of the rooms because I really don't care what types of rooms we are running. I know some people usually tell you to not run these or that room, but I honestly believe that if you are playing the game and if you want to actually perform well in Sanctum, even if it's to complete your ascendancy, you actually just need to practice all rooms and be able to do all rooms. I don't agree with people saying or telling you to skip these or that room. I think you're just like reducing your chances of winning and being at least decent in Sanctum. As I mentioned, my idea would be to go here. Then we cannot see these now because we took you can see one fewer room ahead of the trial. But here, at least we'll have 2 options here. So even if one is really bad, I can try to get to the other one. We might have a problem next time, the next choice, because here they all converge to this one. So if this one is really bad, we're going to have a problem there. But it is what it is, right? So this is the death crystal. Basically, find and disable all the crystals. Any crystal still active when the timer expires will damage you. So you don't actually have to kill stuff in these rooms, right? So if you see that your timer is running low, you can actually skip the mobs and go around them until you go to the next crystal. Every time you click a crystal, they're gonna shoot a beam that guides you to the next crystal. So it's a little bit of balance of killing stuff, but also running to the next crystal in time. So as you can see, it went to the right side of the room. So these mobs they go under the ground. So I usually like killing them because they can be really annoying to deal with. I wanted to grab that, but my timer is running, so we're going down here. More Nagas, they are really annoying. They put a mark now on where they're gonna pop up from the ground. As you can see, I dodged all those mobs there. Yeah, I usually don't like fighting that stuff there. But this is gonna pop up. You can freeze them here. See, I already stacked 1 minute, so now I can actually have time to kill some stuff if I really want. Dodge the ground effects. Just dodging here so you cannot shoot anything on me. And now we're done. As you could see, I didn't kill like what 3 or 4 packs, and that's totally fine, right? Like the idea is for us to also always be on the lookout for quality gear and socket gears, especially if you're playing like me on solo self-found or if you're starting even in trade, because you can destroy these for quality currency or even sockets currency. Nice. So we got ourselves a boom. Basically, these shrines, every time you click on these shrines, awards a shrine that restores honor and grants you a boon. Not only you get honor back, but you also get a boon for free. You cannot choose the boon, but you get a boon, right? Like this is the one of the best outcomes for us in this type of run because you want to everything you do, you want to accrue the most amount of power just to complete the sector. You're really not looking for keys or rewards in that sense, right? Like if I was farming Sanctum, then I would go for keys, right? Like and other stuff. But right now, we want to be as powerful as we can to complete the run. Blood Callus, basically, you're gonna have to defeat three rare monsters, the same as the crystals, the death crystals. Once you click it, it's gonna shoot three beams of blood, and you can follow the beams to find the monsters. In case you're lost, let's say you walk around and you are not finding the monster, if you come back to the chalice and click again, it's gonna shoot a beam again, showing you in what direction the mob is. As you can see, I'm not just standing trying to kill the mob in a single spot. I'm trying to, even as a melee, keep moving so that I don't take hits to the face to just save my honor. These will come to life. As you can see, you can spot these ahead of time, even before they are alive, and that way you can plan ahead on when and what to use. Oh, that shit didn't change much, did it? Huh. This will come alive. Watch out the ground effect. This will come alive. Don't let them roll on top of you. I'm using a ice skill, but if you're using some other build, make sure to dodge from their roll direction. Yeah, these ones, they will shoot those orange balls, and then they also focus around then and then just like blast a sonic beam of sorts. So make sure you don't get hit by those. I got hit by a couple more things here, but overall, we're still in a healthy state for this type of run. And right now, we're gonna recover 148, right? Like so, we're back to full here basically, and also we're gonna get a boom here. So not only we are halfway through, but we are basically full. And now, anytime we venerate a shrine, as you can see here, we get honor back as well. So I'm actually feeling pretty good about this run. Well, just because I said that, now we get a room which is basically only bad stuff, eh? We are basically, well, I guess if we needed the honor, we could click the shrine. These types of shrines, basically, it gives you a lot more honor back, but it will give you an affliction. Since I usually run to keep my honor in a healthy state, I usually don't click these shrines. Be mindful that if you get a rune like these, you don't need to actually click on the shrine at the end of the rune. So you can just skip that, and that's what we're gonna do. We will still take 25 damage on the completion of the rune, but that's not too bad. It's gonna give us some damage on our honor, but as far as I know, it gets mitigated by your your defenses and your mitigation as well. So it's not insanely bad. Once again, death crystals. These will come to life. I usually don't waste too much time killing at the start because it's the one that we have the least amount of time. So I click first, click these guys here. Bell, as always, destroying stuff. Nagas are really annoying because not only they go under the ground and burrow through to you, but they also do a sweep when they come up. So usually, especially melee, it's really annoying to do it without taking damage at least. Of course, once you have a really insane build, like in trade, I do have Gemling three stacker, so the Gemling can just run around killing stuff one screen away, so that makes it not be a problem. Well, I completely spaced out, and as you can see, I'm running to the opposite direction. Lucky us. To us, we have really enough time to just complete it. As, also pay attention that even when I finished the trial, the mobs were still there. So make sure you don't lose your focus once you're done until you're safe at the shrine, because you can take damage and be even killed or not killed, but lose your trial. I'm not putting this point here because the idea would be to represent lower levels, so I'm not actually adding power to the character here, just so you guys can see how it would be done. As I mentioned, this is a shrine that recovers more. Remember that one was like around 150. This is almost double that, 300, but it gives you an affliction. Since I don't want afflictions, because as I mentioned, I want to have the least amount of afflictions that I can, so that my chances to complete are the greatest. So I'm not taking the shrine, even though I could replenish a little bit of honor. I just don't feel it to be okay to lose, to actually get an affliction to just recover this amount of honor. Uh, so rune types, one of the reasons why I mentioned previously that I don't care for rune types is for these afflictions specifically. Some people consider these to be crippling. For me, it's basically freebie because I don't care for rune types. I just do all rooms and get try to get better at all the rooms. That way, I don't have to care for stuff like this, for example. So for me, this is a completely free affliction. 50% honor reduced since we have a healthy amount of honor right now, and also we only have one more room before we do the boss, and when we do the boss we are not replenishing honor after killing the boss if we succeed. That also is basically free at this point of the run. uh, if you keep your honor healthy throughout the run, basically these type of afflictions are free. I always take them without thinking too much of it. For these, I'm gonna go with these one because it gives the bronze key, and then these one. I might have a problem here. Going with these one would be actually the best option. Actually, I'm gonna go with this one. Why is that? Because this one only have these option, and these one allow me to choose between these two. So if one of them is really bad, then I can choose the other one. That's also consideration. So even not knowing what's in here, going this option is actually the best option here because it's giving me two choices before the boss. And this is also portals are one of the also kind of free rooms because you just have to watch out for mobs that come out of the portal if they shoot anything, or like if they have like very small ads or stuff like that, just like the scarab that was there. But besides that, these guys just keep YOLOLO over there while some other stuff keeps spawning. So as you could see, basically, we took, I think, a little bit of damage, but it's still very free. As I mentioned, now we have the both options here. So since we're gonna have the boss, and this is just a single room. We are not planning ahead for other rooms. These more sacred water at the end of the trial could be transferred to keys and then give more keys to be opened, more chests to be opened. But right now, these here, these basically allows you to do a pledge, and usually you have upside and a downside most of the time. So you have something good and something bad that you have to take together. So usually you're getting a boon and an affliction, or like losing something and getting something in place of it. I'm gonna go with these ones so that we can show that, since especially because right now sacred water is not too hot for us. Send our glass, same deal. We're gonna have stuff spawning around the room. These guys over here, as I showed before, they will come to life. Watch out by the web. Watch out for these scorpions. They send those fissures. Uh, these small things, the green ones, that they shoot a single line and then once it hits you, they split in multiple projectiles. It's really annoying. Yeah, took a little bit more damage there. This goes, this guy's in. So, as I mentioned, this is a pledge to Koshai. Let's see what we have as options. So we can, as I mentioned, we can gain afflictions are unknown on the trial, but can also gain adrenaline vial, which we replenish 81 honor on entering a boss room. I'm gonna come back to this one. Then we can actually remove spiked exit, where we basically take 25% physical damage on room completion and also remove this one. This is also good for us because uh, we're basically left with the boss from here. So we're not venerating any more shrines before the end of our run. So this one could also be a good one. Uh, 50% more sacred water since we are only doing this for your first ascendance, trying to reach the boss and then kill the boss. This basically won't do anything for us. If you're planning longer runs, like 2, 3, or even 4 floors, this is a good one if you're going for a merchant strategy. Gaining a random minor affliction to me is always one of the worst things that you can pick because you can actually get crippling afflictions. Just as an idea, as minor afflictions, you have, for example, you have no armor, no evasion, or no energy shield, so it could actually break your build, and you're not choosing, you're not seeing what you're getting. So I think this outcome is usually one of the actual worst that you can get. For this one, basically these at this point in time is basically free for us. Why? Because right now if we hit V, which is what brings the map here, we are already here, right? So the next room is the boss. So we basically don't have any more rooms in the run before the boss. So afflictions being us not being able to see afflictions at this point in time basically does nothing for us. So we are only gaining these, and since we're going to a boss room, we're gonna replenish these honor exactly now. So we're getting something now from this one. This one, as I mentioned before, we're not venerating shrines anymore, so we're basically not losing anything, and we would not take the damage at the end of the room. Basically, this is just to safeguard in case you finish the boss fight with really low honor, but we're usually striving to not have that. So, I think I'm gonna go with this one because at this point in time, this is basically free. And then we go into the boss. This boss specifically, you have to be very careful, especially as melee, because very soon after it initiates, it starts to blowing up in area around him with an expanding area radius. So be mindful of that. It's going to spawn from here. It's already active. You can already start damaging. So anytime it hits the floor, so it's going to start blowing. Go away from it. It explodes 3 times, and then you can try dodge under it. Every time it's trying to do this lump on top of you, I froze it. Bell. It's gonna start falling stuff from the ceiling. Here. Fissure. As you can see, along the run, they did, it's exploding. They had some mobs that actually had these abilities in a smaller fashion to allow you to see what actually would happen. Oh, I got stuck there. I took that to my face. Frozen. Even though I'm taking damage, I'm seeing my honor and I can actually take the hits there. It's gonna start blowing area. I want to kill it. And there we go. Even though I stayed in and took some damage to my honor, I was checking it to see both my life and energy shield, but also my honor as well. So even though I took damage, since we did such a healthy run, we were able to actually keep it really high to do the boss, and then we basically killed it without that much problem. I'm gonna have to come back here. So basically for the purposes of this video, we would have our ascendance over here. Once you kill the boss, you just come over here, click it here, and then you can choose your ascendance. I hope you liked it. I tried giving you pointers as we go. I know it sometimes there are other rooms and there are other enemies or type of booms and afflictions that you can find. But my idea here is just to give you a quick overview on my thought process on how to choose actually afflictions, rooms, and booms to keep you in a state that can complete you once you have these low power going through the campaign, just going over your first ascendance. I really hope you guys like it. Let me know if you want any more pointers or like an extended version of these, or like going over all the rooms or types of monsters, or how you'd like me to adjust it. I certainly would like to have more people being able to complete their first ascendance and not paying for carries, especially with the recent events and whatnot. I think once people realize the structure and how they can do it within the game. Especially the reason why I did these in solo self-found is to show that you have the tools in the game to actually make it happen with what we have now. Uh, See you